In the United States, Republic First Punk finally glued the flippers together, and Putin treacherously, and without announcing the reason, signed amendments to Decree 302 of April 25, 2023. But let's get back to this right after we list the most interesting events that took place in our country during the week. So, the construction of the largest livestock complex in Russia has begun in Kuzbas. On an area of 100 hectares, there will be 8 buildings for the maintenance of 8,200 feed cows, 12 buildings for rearing young animals with a capacity of more than 9,000 heads, 2 maternity wards, and a feeding center. The planned volume of milk production will be 82,000 tons per year. Novatech has started pilot operation of gas condensate deposits in the pre-commissioning mode underload at the Severochesky field. The annual production level at the field is more than 3 billion cubic meters of natural gas and 0.1 million tons of gas condensate. PJSC Tatevsky motor plant of the Yaroslavl region has mastered the production of a new model of the TMZ 8487.1003 engine with a capacity of 450 horsepower. The first 10 engines have already been manufactured and shipped to the customer, the largest Russian manufacturer of road construction equipment. Thanks to the powerful engine and optimal weight, the maximum performance of the tracked bulldozer is ensured in difficult operating conditions. Tatliff Company has launched an elevator manufacturing plant in Tatarstan. The plant was launched at the site of the Zelenodolsk Industrial Park. It is expected that 1,500 elevators will be produced per year, but later their number is planned to increase to 3,000. The elevators will be produced using completely domestic equipment. The Nizhny Novgorod region hosted the launching ceremony of the first and only marine special vessel of the Nikolai Kamov Project 14400, which is being built in the interests of the Russian Navy. Nikolai Kamov has a total displacement of less than 900 tons with a length of about 70 meters, a width of more than 12, and a draft of more than 2 meters. The full speed of the vessel is 12 knots. The cruising range is 500 miles with 2 days of autonomy. Roselectronica Holding has carried out the first delivery of a portable multifunctional radar station that allows detecting drones, including those flying at ultra-low altitudes or in hover mode. The equipment is undergoing test operation in a security system complex at one of the protected facilities. It is planned to enter mass production of products by the end of this year. Alfamitol has launched a modern energy-efficient production of aluminum tape. The capacity is primarily 14,000 tons per year. The localization of products is 100%. Only domestic raw materials are used in production. At the initial stage, the enterprises plan to supply aluminum tape. It is a semi-finished product used after further processing at Russian metallurgical enterprises. Kolomna plant has shipped a diesel generator 20 EDG 500 from the diesel generator set DGU 6300 with a capacity of 6,300 kilowatts for backup power supply of one of the power units of Kursk NPP-2. The 20 EDG 500 is currently the most powerful diesel engine produced at the enterprise in its entire history. The engine of the Kolomna plant is comparable with advanced foreign analogs in terms of fuel and oil consumption and pickup life. Mass production of solenoid valves has been launched in Mitron. They are used to control gaseous and liquid working media in oil and gas production, processing and transportation of energy carriers, mining, metallurgy, etc. The valves are resistant to vibration and corrosion, and universally have a wide range of available options and materials. In Simferopol, after reconstruction, a high-voltage photon substation was launched, the capacity of which has more than tripled. The substation provides power supply to more than 25,000 consumers. As part of the project, 2 power transformers were replaced, and a new complete electric gas distribution device was installed. Well, now let's move on to other events. A significant day has happened. Firstly, the Republic First Bank fins were finally glued together in the USA the other day. As soon as he was pulled by the ears, it turned out that he did not pull himself. In general, starting on Saturday, all branches of Republic First will open under the banner of Fulton Bank, which will solve further problems with depositors. Interestingly, it was not First Republic Bank that collapsed, but another with a similar image, and this is the first fall of a regional U.S. bank in 2024. First Republic Bank was shut down in 2023, transferring all its debts and SCAR to J.P. Morgan Chase. Since the First Republic and J.P. Morgan Chase has had problems worth $230 billion and assets in the form of deposits worth $100 billion. But what is in the bins and bins of Republic First Bank is still unknown for sure. There are a lot of problems there, with assets, quantum uncertainty. At the end of January, 6 billion debts accounted for 4 billion deposits. In general, we are looking at what will happen next. Secondly, Putin treacherously, and without announcing the reasons, signed amendments to Decree 302 of April 25, 2023. In the new edition of the decree, the Russian remains of two companies from the blooming European garden, Ariston and BSH Hoskert, are transferred under the unconditional management of Gazprom Household Systems. The first company is Italians, the second is Germans. Both distinguish themselves by their impeccable execution of sanctions against Russia. And if everything is more or less clear with the former Italians, then with the Germans it is much more interesting. Under the management of BSH Hoskert, brands such as the world-famous Bosch, Siemens, Gaggenau, Nev, and a bunch of others. But the main thing is that, together with the companies, the factories for the production of all this good are also coming under Gazprom's control. It would seem that just recently Putin began to pinch all sorts of brands. And even then I wondered if this was a systemic undertaking or a sudden rebuff by the Kremlin. It turned out that this was already a system, and they began to talk seriously about moving under the full Russian jurisdiction of X5 Group networks. That is, all these intersections with Pyataraka will also soon become Russian. And there is nothing to open a mitten on us, because revenge is the iciest dish in the world. What is important to understand is that all these enterprises were sold to our managers on the principle of an option for a period of 6 years. In other words, by selling his share for €1 or 1 ruble, the owner retained the right to repurchase for the same amount. When Putin will be gone, and Russia will become a normal and quite a democratic country. No wonder even the deadline was exactly like that. In the West, they did not hope, but believed that the freedom-starved Russian people would still organize a Maidan and elect another government for themselves. What could have gone wrong? Yes, all. Putin is a lawyer to the core. All his decrees are legally justified. So it will be interesting to observe the courts, where the past owners will try very hard to regain control of the lost property, which, without SMS and registration, regularly pumped money out of the population, often without paying all taxes and fees that the state insisted on. There were legal loopholes there too, but the property disappeared, and the loopholes disappeared. The former may demand not to use their brands and products, but Russia does not need labels, but working factories. Let there be some kind of toffee instead of a god now. The main thing was to save production and places for staff to earn money. Well, Western technologies too, since the owners have packed the factories with the most advanced equipment. The West is generally used to believing in all sorts of nonsense. In the fall of Putin, for example, or in the arrival of aliens, or even in a zombie virus that makes everyone immortal and extremely evil creatures. The only thing the West is not ready to believe is that it has its own development strategy for Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, Syria, and other countries. And without looking to the West, I even wonder who will be next. It looks like the queue is long. There are more than 1,000 German companies in our market alone.